Alright, so I'm Rob, and better known as AC 720 Man on the Allis-Chalmers forum. A friend of mine brought his D19 diesel. He just bought it out of Pennsylvania, and he thought he had just a exhaust leak. So he had me come look at it, and come to find out after he started the tractor, we had leaks around the energy cells. We had 3 of them. I've already redone this energy cell. This is the new one. I wanted to do one before I shot the video to make sure it went okay, but this is totally new to me. I've never done this before. I want to thank AC Mike on the Alice forum. He's really gave me some good advice. These things normally do not leak, and the book tells you if you don't have a problem, don't touch them. But unfortunately, what I found out when I took his tractor apart, the engine builder had put them back in, and it appears that he used a punch to punch the energy cell back in the head after they rebuilt it. So with those dings, there's no way for the energy cap to seal. So what you end up having is a leak. There's no gasket between the two. It's just the constant pressure of the retainers to hold the pressure on there and keep it from leaking. Matter of fact, the person that did this even tried a copper crush washer to try to get it to stop, and that did not work, and that is obviously not the proper repair. With that being said, I thought maybe I could lap it and get this out, but after investigating it more, there was no way of getting these out with lapping. So I ordered, thankfully AGCO still sells the energy cell and the cap. And when I got the parts, I was really surprised on the old energy cell, and I'm only assuming that the engine builder tapped this 7/8 fine thread in order to pull the energy cell out so they could redo the head. The new energy cells do not come threaded. So I'm guessing that if you ever have to remove one of these, that you're going to have to thread that in order to pull it back out of the head. We'll show you how to do that. I had a couple tools made by a local machinist. Big shout out to Ron at Shenandoah Machine Shop for doing that for me. And the other thing I noticed was there is a huge difference in the thickness of the cap. The factory cap is tapped 1/4 20 to allow you to pull the cap off if it's tight, but it's also used to put in a lapping tool in order to hold it in place so you can lap it. The new energy cell obviously is a lot thinner, and I was very concerned about having my machinist drill and tap that to be able to get enough thread to grip it. So what I did, he made me a lapping tool, and I had him make it to where I had set screws in the side, so when you put the cap down in there, we'll tighten up the set screws to hold it in place. Now, the way these things are done, you put a piece of rubber hose in them, and you can put them on a drill, and the hose just allows it to be able to be kept flat against the surface, because when you lap, you want it to be completely flat. Since this is all new material, I talked to Mike, and he suggested me just to hand lap it. So that's what I did on this first one. and it worked just fine. With it being a flat surface, you could get the suction lapping tool. I could not obtain that locally, so I chose to still use this. So with that being said, I had him order a bolt, and then he threaded it to the slide hammer. And since these are already threaded, what we'll do is we'll run it in there and thread it. And it does take quite a few smacks to get this out, but we'll run it in there until it stops. Okay, it stopped.
Take the other cap out. I don't know if it vibrated out or not.
Yeah. Good thinking, Charlie. Brother Charlie is here assisting me. So anyway, let's get this other one out.
Works easy.
So it takes a couple smacks, but it comes out. And this energy cell, appears to be in good shape except for the obvious damage. So this really isn't a difficult repair. I was really dreading doing this, but so far it's worked good. So if you look back in there, you can see some soot. So we're going to clean that out. So what I did on this other one is I vacuumed that out first, and then I'll take some brake clean on a rag and clean this up, because we want these surfaces to be free of carbon, so it seals. So that's what we'll do next, and we'll get back to it. So we got it all cleaned up, took brake clean and cleaned up the pockets and the face. Got to make sure everything is clean. So we'll go ahead and slide this one in. And surprisingly enough, you can use 2 thumbs and press it in until it gets snug. This one over here, I was able to press completely in with my thumb, but we're going to have to use a driver to finish it off. All right, so we're all the way in.
How you know when it's seated?
It's got a surface on the back of it, and it can only go in so far. So we're all the way in. The important thing here is we don't want to use a whole lot of lapping compound on it. You just need to use just a little bit. And you don't want to get it down in here to where you're lapping on the inside. So we want the outer surface. It'll squeeze it in there. There again, I'm new at this, so I could be doing something totally wrong. But
Is there a certain grit compound you got to use for lapping?
this is what I was told to pick up. They make it in all different types of grit. So I probably should have put that in the retainer first. It would have been easier. Let's go ahead and do that. Wipe this surface off. Alright, so we've got compound all the way around. And then we just put it in there and they tighten it up. And we're going to just use your hand and work it back and forth to lap it. This is all new surface, so it's not going to take much. We'll pull it out and inspect it. You wipe it off. We'll make sure we wipe all this out. I don't feel anything inside, but we'll wipe it down. It's break clean. When I did the first one, I was really shocked at how little bit you got to do to get it lapped. It doesn't take a lot. And you can see we got a nice shiny surface all the way around. Finish cleaning this up, make sure we get all the grit out. Now you don't want to mix your caps up, so once you lap it, make sure that cap stays with that energy cell. So I'll make a mark on this one when I take it out so I know which one it is. You don't want to drop these things. Then you can make a dent in it, so just be careful when you handle it. Then we'll get ready and we'll pull the next one. Oh, this one here is being a little stubborn. There it is. Alright, so we're not going to fool with any of these other cells because they are not leaking, and I don't want to fix any more than I got to. So we got it threaded in, and that one was a little bit more stubborn. We got it out. Flashlight, you can see what we got. We just got a little bit of soot, and we'll vacuum that out, clean it up, and we'll put the next one in.
So Rob, on these Buddha engines, is the same procedure cross well, would you say the 230 series all the way up to 262s?
Yeah, the WD, it's got the 230 Buddha. They also have energy cells, and I've got a D19 with this same engine in it, although it's not turbo. This is a D19. It is the same. You do it the same way. So I'm totally new to this, so I'm just, what little bit I've learned, that's what I'm going by, and with Mike's help, I could be doing something totally wrong. I don't know, but it's actually going really great. But you can see how much carbon you actually get out of the pocket and the head when you retrieve one of these. So you just want to make sure that you always use clean rags, get everything cleaned up. And like I say, I'm using brake clean on it.
So on this, you did talk to one of our longtime local Allis dealers, and he had worked on very few of these, or
He actually, Kenny had been in business for a long time, probably 50 plus years. And when I asked him about these, he said, we had the tools for it back there, but we never had an energy cell leak. So he had no experience with them, and I thought that was quite odd. But it's normally not a thing that gives you a problem. But the damage was done when they used a punch to drive these back in, and that's where the damage came from. So we're going to go ahead and put the third one in. Maybe we'll get lucky and be able to press it in totally by hands, but obviously I'm not strong enough to do that. So we're going to go back to our aluminum driver that I had machined just for this. A couple little taps, and you'll feel it seat. So that's in.
all right. So here's the part numbers we're using. That's for the cell, and this is for the cap.
So we've got one more cap here somewhere. So again, you want to clean the parts, but because they do put some oil on them to keep them from rusting, so you want to get that all.
Where did you find your parts at?
Hey, I forgot to do that in the beginning. That's a special shout out to Brenda at Sandy Lake Implement. I was actually shocked when I called her and parts were still available, which was great news, because as you can see on the older caps, the exhaust and the high temperatures really deformed these things, and I was really concerned about being able to get them in the tool and lapping them, making sure everything was flat. So there's a big difference in the caps. I was a little disappointed that the new caps are thinner. But anyway, Ron was able to machine it and the tool for me to fit the new caps, and it fits perfectly.
Maybe a later part came out, superseded thicker caps, and we figured they only needed the thin ones.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that, Charlie, but was very concerned about trying to drill and tap that. So that's why we came up with this type with using the set screws. So this has worked out great so far. I know Mike has done a lot of these engines, and he sent me pictures of the tool that he made utilizing the actual hole, because I think usually reused his caps, but there was no way of doing that. And his is actually slotted here in the machining so that you can get a 1/4 20 bolt down through the slot to hold the cap in place. And after seeing how thin these were, I knew that was not a possibility. So that's why I came up with this this type tool. So go ahead and get our lapping compound on there. Like I say, I was trying to, whether you got to do this or not, I don't know, but I'm just trying to avoid getting that on this surface because I don't want anything there getting lapped. So I can put it in there, place it in. You can feel the lapping compound working. And like I say, this is all new machine surfaces, so like I said, I didn't have to get aggressive with it, and make sure we got a nice shiny surface. And that looks really good to me. Does it pass your inspection, Troy?
Yeah, it looks pretty good.
So we'll go ahead and clean this off, and at this point we're finished. We'll go back and we'll put our studs in. The person that redid this tractor did not use studs, they used bolts. And AGCO does not sell the studs anymore. So I was able to obtain new studs, the short studs, locally, but I couldn't get the 1/2 inch by 20 studs. So I'm gonna clean up the threads on those and reuse the studs instead of bolts like they did here, because I don't really like that. I'm gonna leave those. It's not my tractor. If it was my tractor, I'd redo all of it. But anyway, after we get this done, this completes the repair. We'll put the studs on and put everything back together, and it'll be repaired.